Get ready for the knockout punches, the record-breaking payouts, and the fighter feuds that are shaking up the MMA world. We've got the inside scoop on who's getting paid and who's speaking out. First up, we're diving deep into the massive earnings from UFC 326, where Charles Oliveira took home a king's ransom after his epic win over Max Holloway. We'll break down the exact figures and the performance bonuses that had fighters celebrating. Then, get ready for some serious controversy as Ronda Rousey steps back into the spotlight, not just for her fight against Gina Carano, but to absolutely torch the UFC over their fighter pay. She's calling out the company for its alleged greed and the impact it's having on athletes' lives. And we'll hear directly from Francis Ngannou about the biggest issues he faced with UFC contracts, revealing the clauses that made him walk away as a champion. This is the real talk you need to hear. Subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss a single update.
Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to prop it up? Meet the Pop Sockets phone grip with expanding kickstand in black, your new must-have accessory. Don't miss out. Grab yours today. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
UFC 326. Holloway vs. Oliveira, two shattered expectations, and now we're revealing who cashed in the biggest. Charles Oliveira stunned the world at UFC 326, defeating Max Holloway in a fight where he was the underdog. This massive victory wasn't just a personal triumph. It came with a hefty payday, making Oliveira the highest earner on the card. Oliveira secured an estimated $2.2 million, a testament to his skill and the magnitude of the event. But the financial rewards didn't stop there. Drew Dober, Gregory Rodriguez, Rodolfo Bellato, and Alberto Montes were also recognized for their outstanding performances, each earning an additional $100,000 performance of the night bonuses. These figures paint a clear picture of the financial landscape at the top tier of MMA, showcasing the significant rewards for elite performances. Fans are buzzing about the fighter salaries, with many discussing the disparity and the sheer amount of money involved in these high-stakes bouts. Analysts are weighing in on how these payouts reflect the current market value of top MMA talent. This is just the beginning of our deep dive into the money and drama behind the fights. Next, we're hearing from a legend ready to expose the true cost of fighting for the UFC. Ronda Rousey is back, and she's not holding anything back, unleashing a fiery critique of the UFC. Ronda Rousey, gearing up for her highly anticipated return to mixed martial arts against Gina Carano on May 16th, has ignited a firestorm by publicly criticizing the UFC. She's not just focusing on her comeback, but is using the platform to highlight what she sees as systemic issues within the organization, particularly concerning fighter compensation. Rousey didn't mince words, stating that the UFC's current pay structure forces champions like Valentina Shevchenko to resort to selling personal content on platforms like OnlyFans to make ends meet. She argued that despite the UFC's massive new $7.7 billion deal with Paramount+, many fighters, especially at the lower levels, are struggling to support their families, living at a poverty level. Rousey believes this financial strain is driving talent away to other combat sports like boxing or even other professional leagues, calling it short-term greed that jeopardizes the future of MMA. The MMA community is abuzz with Rousey's outspoken stance. Fans are divided, with some praising her honesty and others questioning her motives. Analysts are closely examining her claims in light of the UFC's recent financial dealings and ongoing antitrust lawsuits. But Rousey isn't the only one with strong opinions on UFC contracts. Prepare for a bombshell revelation from a former champion about the fine print that traps fighters. Francis Ngannou is pulling back the curtain on the UFC contracts that led him to walk away as a champion. Francis Ngannou, the former UFC heavyweight champion, made history in early 2023 by becoming the first modern fighter to leave the promotion as a free agent while holding a title. His departure sent shockwaves through the MMA world, bringing unprecedented attention to the intricacies of UFC fighter contracts. Now, as he prepares for his return to MMA against Philippe Lins on Netflix's inaugural MMA event, Ngannou is sharing his perspective on what needs to change. When asked what he would alter about UFC contracts, Ngannou pinpointed the sunset clause as his primary concern. He emphasized that freedom, not just money, is the core issue for fighters. He explained that being locked into a contract without the ability to pursue other opportunities when unhappy is fundamentally unfair. Ngannou believes fighters should have the inherent right to fight out their contracts, which are typically for a limited number of fights, not a lifetime commitment. He acknowledged that many fighters are content, but stressed the importance of choice and the option to leave if unsatisfied. Ngannou's exit was facilitated by a 5-year sunset clause in his deal, which he strategically waited out. However, the UFC has since revised its contracts, making it more challenging for fighters to replicate his strategy. The new deals feature more extendable sunset clauses that begin after the fighter's first bout and exclude time lost due to suspensions, effectively tightening the grip on their roster. These contract disputes highlight a larger pattern of discontent within the sport. Get ready for more candid talk, as another former champion lays bare the harsh realities of UFC pay. Ronda Rousey is delivering a brutal assessment of UFC fighter pay, revealing the harsh financial realities many athletes face. Ronda Rousey, a monumental figure in MMA history, is making waves not just with her impending return to the octagon against Gina Carano on May 16th, but with her scathing public critique of the UFC's fighter compensation. Speaking at a press conference to promote her comeback, Rousey didn't hold back, labeling the UFC as one of the worst places for fighters and lamenting its impact on the sport's appeal to aspiring athletes. Rousey asserted that the UFC, once the premier destination for lucrative combat sports careers, has fallen from grace. She pointed to the fact that top athletes, including pound-for-pound Queen Valentina Shevchenko, are reportedly turning to platforms like OnlyFans to supplement their income, a situation Rousey attributes to the UFC's alleged short-term greed. She highlighted the stark contrast between the $7.7 billion deal the UFC secured and the struggles of many lower-level fighters who, according to Rousey, cannot support their families and are essentially living in poverty level. Rousey questioned why young athletes would pursue MMA when other sports offer better financial security, arguing that the UFC is bleeding talent by failing to offer competitive wages and neglecting its responsibility to nurture the future of the sport. The MMA world is reacting strongly to Rousey's accusations, igniting debates about fair pay and athlete welfare. Legal experts are noting the relevance of her comments in the context of ongoing antitrust lawsuits against the UFC, including Johnson versus Zuffa and Le versus Zuffa, which allege illegal suppression of fighter compensation. While Rousey's criticism is not new in the MMA sphere, her vocal opposition is particularly noteworthy given her past association with UFC CEO Dana White. These revelations about pay and contracts are exposing the cracks in the UFC's foundation. Stay with us as we break down all the angles and what it means for the future of MMA. And that's a wrap on today's explosive news. We saw Charles Oliveira dominate and cash in big at UFC 326, Ronda Rousey calling out the UFC's fighter pay, and Francis Ngannou revealing the contract clauses that pushed him to leave. Don't miss another moment of the action. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, drop a comment with your thoughts, and follow us on all social media platforms for even more exclusive content. We'll see you next time.